Okay, man.
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna apologize ahead of time. I have a cold, so if I sniffle and all that stuff, I apologize.
Guys, hi, we are the Bonsai Movie Crew.
Oh,
Take it away.
Yeah.
go Madison,
Come
go!
Take it away.
We are the Bonsai Movie Crew. Be
And here we
sure
are.
to check out.
You gotta look at the camera, not me. Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, you're
Because I'm used to
talking to
The audience
them,
is
not
out there.
us.
Be sure to make sure.
Be sure to make sure.
Be sure to make sure.
Oh, now they're
Be
calling
sure
me.
to drink your Ovaltine.
Be sure to follow us on TikTok, X, Instagram. What else is there? YouTube, Spotify, all of the above, really. Besides that one that we got rid of.
Rumble.
Besides that one that we Rumble. Yeah, we got rid of that one. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. We like to hear your comments most of the time, so make sure to do that. And Dad, you want to get us started on the creative profile? Or...
She handed that off pretty quick.
She did. She's like, oh, Dad, take it away.
I'll do the intro and then here you go.
Back to you, Father.
Back to Joseph with the news.
Figure it out, fucker.
Yeah, sure. Anyway.
I don't want the ring yet. You can have it back.
Take it. I don't need it.
So I don't even know how to. I don't even know how to segue into this now that because she fucked up my whole.
This week's creator profiler is
Okay.
Tobe Hooper.
Hold on now. I need
Right?
Okay, a minute.
Tobe Hooper.
You're like, right? Yep, Tobe Hooper.
Because he's the only one that really made anything.
You want me to read that?
Well, him and Gunner.
I can read the creator profile if somebody else wants to read the movie.
Yeah, how long is it?
The movie or the profile? The profile's...
Because if you want me to read anything, it's got to be something short. My throat is killing
The
me.
movie's not very long. I mean, the movie's not very plot heavy. So.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
But, like, I want to read something.
There was a
so
lot
you
of
should read the creative profile.
Killing and screaming.
Yeah, I guess you can.
Yes.
Try not to jumble up a bunch of words.
Says you.
It's
Says
funny.
me what?
She does the intro and then she hands it off. Like, you can do the creator profile,
Yeah,
and then she's
I'll
like,
read it.
"I want to take it back. I'm back."
I
I
want
wanna
the
read
reins
it.
back.
Tobe Hooper, January 25th, 1943. That's when he was
Oh,
born.
hold on. I should
And
let
he
everyone.
died August 26, 2017.
Yeah, so I got. So they don't have a biography on Tobe Hooper, so I had to look on fandom for what I got anyway. So everything you hear today is from fandom, the movie and the creator profile. So just thought everybody should know. I feel like I should say that at the beginning of every episode
people credit for what they-
give people credit for what they've done. So if you're interested in reading it yourself, it's on fandom. Go ahead.
Okay. He was an American director, screenwriter, and producer, best known for his work in the horror genre. Among his most recognized films are the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, which The Guardian described as one of the most influential films ever made, and Poltergeist 1982, which received 3 Academy Award nominations. Hooper died in 2017 at the age of 74 of natural causes. Early life. Hooper was born in Austin, Texas. Okay. To Louis Bell and Norman William Ray Hooper. It's like Jim Hopper, but it says William Hooper.
I don't know why they named him, or why they... Toby, why is it Tobe?
That's his middle name.
Tobe.
I know, but why? Like,
Tobe Hooper.
That's just
I
weird.
don't know. His first name's William, I think.
Yeah, it's William.
Every time I hear the name Toby or Tobe, I always think of that skit from Dave Chappelle.
And his dad owned a theater in San Angelo? Sure. The film Texas Chainsaw Massacre explores Hicksploitation themes. Wow.
That's
Is
weird.
that a word?
Huh, sure.
It's a genre. It's like, Wrong Turn and...
Oh, yeah.
He kind of gave birth to it, though.
Yeah,
It wasn't really a thing until Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Exploitation.
Pretty
It's
much
like
a bunch of
hits.
hillbillies that are very.
It's like the whole point is like if you go to some place that there isn't a lot of like houses and stuff like where
Like the middle of nowhere.
yeah, you go to the middle of nowhere and these people are not really governed very well. They're used to living by their own rules and doing what they
Hillbillies
Right.
want.
inbred.
Yeah.
Hillbillies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember
Hillbillies
those
inbred.
people? Like, remember we did Nothing But Trouble?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Remember the people sitting out on the porch and as they were driving through that little town?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they would call. That's kind of what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're looking at him because like, what are you doing in my town? You know what I mean?
Like
That's kind
Yeah.
of like why it's sort of catchy too, because it's still scary because there's still parts of the world that are like that. Like if you happen upon places where, you know, there's just not a lot of civilization, those people are still out there.
Especially in the East.
Hmm.
Like in the East, like in Kentucky, Tennessee, hell, even in Ohio.
The Appalachians.
Yeah,
are-
there's still
Yeah,
still areas
Virginia,
in
West
Ohio.
Virginia,
Mhm.
Mississippi.
Kentucky, parts of
Mississippi,
Kentucky,
especially.
Mississippi.
Yeah,
The ghost
There's a
towns
lot of
you'll
Eastern
everything.
states.
find.
Yeah, there's
people
there's a
still
lot
there.
of places in the world that are still not very civilized, so
Mhm.
it's
Like you
still
said,
scary.
The
to
eastern
think of
states
that.
are really bad about it. I bet a lot of our central states are pretty bad too.
Yeah. It's,
There's ghost towns around that people are still in those towns because
Mhm.
they don't want to leave.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was the exploitation themes were related to his childhood. He first became interested in filmmaking when he used his father's 8mm camera at the age of 9. Hooper took radio, television, film classes at the University of Texas at Austin and studied drama in Dallas under Baruch Lumet. Sure, Lumet. Kind of sounds French.
We're gonna go with it.
Probably is.
Career. Hooper spent the 1960s as a college professor and documentary cameraman. His 1965 short film, The Heisters, was invited to be entered in the short subject category for an Academy Award, but was not finished in time for the competition that year. Hooper's first feature film, Eggshells, in 1969, was made for $40,000. Hooper leaped to fame with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 1974. He combined elements from a story he wrote about isolation and darkness with the inspiration of graphic news coverage of violence, with his beliefs that people were the true monsters being a key element for the film. Along with Kim Hinkle, they co-wrote a screenplay that had elements based on the murders of Ed Gein
Geen.
Game.
Mhm.
and Elmer Wayne Henley while forming a company named Vortex Inc. They produced the film alongside Jay Parsley and Richard Sangs. Okay. The low budget, roughly less than $140,000, meant that the film was shot 7 days a week, having shooting times of up to 16 hours a day. Dang. Dealing with warm temperatures and limited special effects, Hooper had to deal with the Motion Picture Association of America, the MPAA, with the rating. He had hoped the limited amount of gore seen in the film would give it a PG, but the original print was given X rating. After some cuts, it was given an R rating. The film was cited as one of the scariest films of all time, with film critic Roger Ebert describing it as a weird off-the-wall achievement. The film was a huge commercial success, making $30 million in the United States and Canada, while being one of the highest-grossing independent films in the 1970s. Hooper's next film was Eaten Alive in 1976. The film was co-written by Hinkle and producers Alvin L. Fast and Marty Rustin. Okay. Like with Massacre, the film was inspired by serial killings. This time, the murderer Joe Ball, who killed at least 2 people in the 1930s, led to his nicknames of the Alligator Man and the Butcher of Elmendorf. Okay. The film was filmed on the sound stages in California.
Like a D&D name.
Hooper provided the music alongside Wayne Bell. He walked off the production before shooting was completed. Hooper had his biggest budget yet with the TV version of Salem's Lot in 1979 filmed on a budget of $4 million
I
for
didn't know he did
CBS
that.
while being released theatrically in some countries.
You're here to learn,
I
Karen.
know.
Some things he's done right.
That's part of another reason.
I was
why-
reading through his filmography too, and I was like, I haven't heard a lot of these movies, but I was like, I've seen a few of them. And I'm like, this explains why I really never paid much attention to Tobe Hooper because I don't really care much about his films.
I like Tobe Hooper.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, but I mean, like, I'm not saying that he's a bad director or anything. I'm just saying that, like, I didn't care for what he has done, I guess. So, no offense, man.
He's
I don't
dead,
think he
can't hear
cares.
you.
Nah, he doesn't care.
I don't think he would have cared if he was alive.
No, he wouldn't have
either.
cared either, no.
To be fair.
Right.
It was,
And I don't care that he don't care.
I guess.
Maybe he
All's
don't care
well
that
that
you don't
ends
care
well,
that he
I
cares.
Huh?
I said maybe he don't care that you. Yeah,
Maybe he
fuck
don't
it.
care that you don't care that he don't care that
Yeah.
you don't care.
Exactly.
Big old tongue twister. I couldn't get it out.
Karen's got it down, though. It was a screening of Massacre that led producer Richard Kobritz to hire Hooper as director. He shot the film from July to August 1979. Although the film differed from the source material, particularly with the violence and graphic scenes to meet broadcast standards, he described it as very spooky. It suggests things and always has the overtone of the grave. It affects you differently than my other horror films. It's more soft-shelled. It has an atmosphere which creates something you cannot escape. The reminder that our time is limited and all the accoutrements that go with it, such as the visuals. He then went on to make The Funhouse in 1981. In 1982, Hooper made Poltergeist based on a story by Steven Spielberg. Right? I've heard you say it before.
That's definitely one of my favorite paranormal movies.
It's not bad. I actually like that more than I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm not a big...
Well, it's my
paranormal
favorite
fan.
genre when it's done right, so I would agree with you.
Hooper was selected to direct based on his prior work by Steven Spielberg, who co-wrote the screenplay and co-produced the film. It was Hooper who collaborated with Spielberg to make it more of a ghost story than one of the sci-fi elements the original treatment had, as it had originally been conceived as a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Canon Films approached Hooper with the offer of a 3-picture deal. He made Life Force in 1985, Invaders from Mars in 1986, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 in 1987. Hooper also began working steadily in television. Hooper's later work included Spontaneous Combustion in 1990, I'm Dangerous Tonight in 1990, a TV movie, and Night Terrors 1993. He directed an installment of Body Bags in 1993 and did The Mangler in 1995. The Apartment Complex in 1999,
Mangler.
Crocodile in 2000,
Mangler?
Toolbox Murders
That
in
was
2004, and
Robert Englund movie.
Mortuary in 2005.
Machine.
Dang. Hooper was asked to contribute to the
Machine.
Masters of Horror
I'm
series.
thinking of
He
something
directed
else, though.
Dance of the Dead in 2005,
thinking of,
the Robert Englund
When they're at that airport.
in the first season, and The Damned
That's what I
Thing
was thinking
in the second season.
Airport.
And
Masters of Horror is the shit.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that's one show that I really do, like, wish they didn't cancel. That
Yeah.
was such a good show. It was like Tales from the Crypt, but, like,
You never knew what you were going to get.
you never knew what you were going to get. And also, every single episode was directed by a famous...
Well, that's what I'm
horror
saying. You never
director.
knew what you were going to get. It wasn't like you didn't have always the same writers, the same directors. It was literally every week was somebody different, something different, a new flavor, new everything.
I actually-
you had no idea.
I know people are going to hate me for this, but I actually like Masters of Horror more than I like Tales from the Crypt.
I have a sweet spot for Tales from the
I'm
Crypt.
sure everybody has a lot of nostalgia there, you know, with the Crypt Keeper and everything, but and it's, you know, how old it is or whatever. But Masters of Horror, in my opinion, did it better. Some of that shit was fucking scary as shit. It was freaky, man, and I really
I would say for the
enjoyed it.
horror element, I would agree with you, but I mean, Tales from the Crypt, I think you could make arguments for both.
Yeah, you definitely could. I agree with that.
Seems like Tales from the Crypt just had more comedy skits to it.
Some of it was a little more slapstick, yeah.
But there were legit episodes of Tales from the Crypt that you could make that argument that were legit,
scary,
terrifying.
Yeah.
Like if
I agree. Yeah, there were slapstick episodes that were a little goofy, but there were I wouldn't say just as many, but there were still a lot of really good horror episodes from Tales from the Crypt. Whereas with Masters of Horror, it was always just horror.
Yeah.
It was scary. That was it. There was no slapstick funny shit about it.
Hooper was asked to contribute to Masters of Horror series. He directed. Oh wait, I just read that. Sorry. Hooper appeared in the 3rd episode. Hooper's first novel, Midnight Movie, was published by Three Rivers Press in 2011. His supernatural thriller film, Jinn, premiered.
Jinn.
Okay. Premiered at the 2013 Abu Dhabi Film Festival. Okay. Personal life. Tobe had one son, William Tony Hooper. Didn't I already say that?
I don't know.
I remember reading that name. Death. Hooper died of natural causes in Sherman Oaks, California on August 26, 2017 at the age of 74. Legacy. Filmmakers who have been influenced by Hooper include Hideo Nakata, Wes Craven, Rob Zombie, Alexandre Aja, and Jack Thomas Smith. Director Ridley Scott has stated that his work on Alien was influenced more by Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre than any other B-level genre film. That's that. That's Tobe Hooper, guys.
Fucking everybody loved that guy.
Yeah, he was a huge influence in the horror genre. Wasn't The Texas Chainsaw Massacre like the first movie to get an R rating?
I don't know about that. I know that it took a long time to get the R rating.
Yeah, because they had to cut so much, or they had to kind of.
He was sure he was going to get a PG.
Yeah, even because he didn't show enough gore. He
didn't do a lot of blood. And a lot of the kills happened off screen.
Yeah, I even watched the 40th anniversary of it.
Yeah, that's what I watched.
He was sure he was going to get a PG.
I didn't think it was that gory though. There was a couple.
Well, it's not.
There's,
I mean, by today's standards, it's a very tame movie.
The most gore in it was like the first kill when he hit this dude with the sledgehammer.
But you don't even see gore. You don't see any
blood. The goriest part would probably be where he accidentally cut himself in the leg.
That's what I was getting ready to say. The most gory part is when
the dude got ran over by the semi.
Gory.
Yeah, but you still don't see
you
blood.
You don't see much. You see him going to the tires, but it's like you can blatantly tell it's a dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, favorite Tobe Hooper movie?
Poltergeist.
Yeah, I'd have to say Poltergeist.
This is probably the only movie of his you've seen. I'm going to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Of course.
I fucking love that. Of all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, that is my favorite.
Why?
Only because of Chop Top.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Chop Top is amazing. Yeah. He's fucking weird.
I think Poltergeist is like the standard by which all paranormal movies should base themselves. Because when it's done right, it's done to that level.
Because you need more. It's because whenever it comes to supernatural shit like that, you need something more physical within the movie. I get that ghosts are scary, but whenever there's physical things coming after them, that's different.
I think that when you can one of the best scenes in Poltergeist is when the guy
not like they did in Poltergeist,
when the guy rips his own face off. He looks in the mirror and he sees he starts ripping his own face off. That is the kind of stuff that you want to see. And when that kind of stuff is done right, it's to me is the best kind of horror because Texas Chainsaw, that kind of stuff, it's scary. But if I run fast enough, I'm gonna get away from the guy.
Or if you have a gun.
Yeah, if I have a gun, if I jump on that guy's truck, I'm gonna get away just like that girl did.
You have a physical way of either defending yourself or getting away.
Yeah, I have a physical way. If I've got if I've got ghosts and I'm tearing my own face off, things like that, you feel defeated, just like they did in the movie. How do you fight that? That's terrifying to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Anyway, let's move on here. What have you guys been watching?
What the hell have you been watching?
Let's start with Eric.
I watched the new Aquaman.
I haven't watched it.
Okay, it's a good watch when you're bored.
When you're bored. I mean, I can watch
I
a lot
I was
of
saying, I
things
can think of
on
about
board.
a million things.
I can't compare that movie to the first. First one was better, in my opinion.
I haven't seen any of them yet.
Like, the ending kind of killed it for me. Yeah,
No, it's a dud.
I'll give it a 6 rating.
Wasn't it like almost a 2.5 hour movie, or is it
Something like that.
It's ridiculously long.
There's good action in it, but just, I don't know. I can't really get behind the movie. I watched Hitman's Bodyguard. That's a good movie.
It's not a bad movie at all.
No, it's a lot of action, a lot of comedy.
Anything with Sam Jackson's going to be good.
Sam Jackson and Ryan
you
Reynolds
had Ryan Reynolds
together.
in there. That's
Yeah.
even better. And a little bit of a splash of Selma Hayek.
Yeah. Trying to
Gosh.
think. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much I've heard.
I know, it's
in
just
there.
funny.
Just here and there.
I know
You
the
made a
second one's
drink.
got more of her. in
Yeah,
it.
the second one's got more.
'Cause it's the
Liv
Hitman's
bodyguard's
bodyguard.
wife,
Yeah, something like that.
I know I watched something else. I just can't think of it at the top of my head. Oh, no, if it comes back to me, I'll say it. But yeah, that's about all I watched.
Okay. Karen,
Meet the Feebles.
meet the what?
Meet the Feebles. That's that puppet movie that we talked about, the Peter Jackson puppet movie.
Yeah.
It's just as fucked up as I remember. Clerks 3, Mad Heidi.
I heard that Clerks 3 wasn't that great.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I think what everybody had to complain about, it's a valid... I had one complaint. I'm not going to go into any details because I don't know who's seen what, and I'm not going to go into any of it, but I had one complaint, but I think that overall, the direction he took with it is a logical one. It's a logical trajectory for the course of the trilogy.
Okay.
Pandorium. That was my other movie I watched.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
So you don't watch only shitty movies?
No, I watched it. Yeah, I guess 2 movies out of 3 I watched.
Hey,
that were
someone's got to
decent.
watch the Cruddy movies. We don't.
Karen
I do.
does.
Karen
I watch
does.
a lot of
Oh.
shitty movies.
Yeah,
He watches like
He
shitty
watches
blockbuster
bad. He watches
movies.
he watches bad A-rated movies. I watch
Yeah.
bad B-rated movies.
Yeah.
But aren't all B-rated movies bad?
Not all. There are
Not
some
all.
really good ones.
They're not all bad.
Well, then I don't watch bad ones. I turn the bad ones off.
They're good to her.
The good B-rated are the bad ones to her. The bad ones are the good ones to her.
No, that's not true at all. You wouldn't know Troll 2 if I didn't show it to you.
It's terrible.
Did you hear that?
I'm not saying shit. This is a brother-sister feud. I'm going to avoid that conversation, kind of like you would if it was me and Madison.
No, I actually have
She
a
stands
lot
up
to
for
say
me
about
all the
that.
time.
If it
Kung
was
Pao
Madison,
was
I
like
would
the
have a lot to say
best
about that.
B-rated movie
When it
I've
comes
ever
to
seen.
movies and Madison, I will school her.
I'm just going to
I
say
care
this.
enough about this
Troll
role that I will-
stands on its own as a specific type of movie that people tend to enjoy.
Yeah.
Bad
Like
for
when
a
you're
good
just
reason.
sitting there
But
like,
like in a different instance, you usually have my back.
You most of the time, but when it comes to movies and things, I
don't
will
argue about
help you.
movies.
Troll 2 is good in its own way. It's good in the way that it's supposed to be. Well, it
bad
wasn't
movie.
supposed to be bad, but it's good.
It's good because that guy legit thought he was making a good movie. It's really kind of funny. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not getting into that. Mad Heidi, Eyes of Laura Mars, Naked
Troll
Lunch.
2 is a movie that you watch with your friends drunk.
I watched that
I would.
sober.
No, yeah,
No,
but, but it's more
can't.
fun drunk with your
Yeah.
friends. I wish that one was in public domain because oh my
The
fucking
cringe,
God.
like when it gets too cringy for me, like the cringe factor.
That's
it's
the
like,
problem, though, is that
I
one's
can't
so
get
well
into
known.
it.
It's
Everybody would do it right
Yeah,
off. If it
like
hit
that.
public domain, everybody.
I'm telling you, Manos is a gold mine when it comes to bad movies. That
We'll check it out. We're gonna do a few of them here. We're gonna see how it works out.
Can't you guys ask for like copyright?
If it's in public domain,
Yeah, you don't
need
have
to.
to.
no, you don't need to.
I mean,
and
like,
if you
if
wanted to
you
buy,
wanted to-
if you wanted to buy copyright for that movie, we're gonna have to sell you, your brothers, my kids, Eric's kids.
Well, maybe half my kids would probably do it.
No, I'm pretty sure all of them.
Oh man, that's
I
good.
don't know. We get a lot of money. He's got a lot of kids.
Hmm.
We might have some extra.
Woohoo! We can buy another movie.
or we can really publish this thing, like
Because
sell the rights off.
We're just
for
talking about
promptly.
selling his kids.
Yeah.
It's good.
He's got enough of them.
He can make
Not if we
more.
sell
No, he
them
can't.
No, I
Never
can't.
mind.
Can't make more.
I can't.
Never mind. The FP, that was terrible. That was a bad one. Afterlife, The Killer Inside Me, The Shrine, Modern Problems, Dark Man, and Bodies.
Bodies. Did you ever? You saw that before, didn't you? Oh, you didn't?
That was the first time I seen it.
What'd you think of it?
I liked it.
Did you?
I did. I liked the ending.
I didn't like it.
The ending is what sold it
I
for
didn't
me.
like it at first, and then I kept thinking about it. The more I thought on it, the more I liked it.
Yeah,
So-
the ending is what sold it for me. The whole time I was watching, I was like, "This is so awful." And then at the ending, I was like, when they picked up his phone and you saw the video, I was like, "That just sold the whole movie. That
Yeah.
is amazing."
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I've never
Um,
seen another movie like that.
So, fuck, I was gonna say something. So, okay, so I realized that, like, remember when we first started doing this podcast? You were like, "Man, I'm busy. I'm always so busy." You'd be coming in like, "I didn't watch any movies this week. I didn't have time."
I don't work at Hydro anymore.
Well, I know, but I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
now it's like every week you're like, "Yeah, so I watched like 30 movies and I caught a couple of episodes."
Somebody's
got
got to watch movies on this podcast.
Yeah, I watch stuff. I've got a couple movies. Madison, what'd you watch?
Mm-hmm.
Good Girls in One Piece.
Sit up and talk into the mic.
Good Girls in One Piece. I was listening to you guys. I was being patient.
What's One Piece?
It's an anime.
Yeah.
Oh.
I watched the anime, but I also watched the live version because Garrett was watching it. It was just on TV, so we watched a couple episodes of that. Other than that, I didn't really watch that much. We watched whatever Dad was watching this week during dinner while I was there. I watched, but but he'll say it, so.
All right. What?
I'm trying to think of the movie that came out in the 90s. It was about these freaks. And they were in like a circus, but they're like mutants almost.
Freaks?
Is it what?
It might be called Freaked.
Freaked.
Is it the one with
Alex Winter and
Alex
Cameron
Winter?
It
Reeves.
might be.
Yeah,
And it also, yeah,
it's Freaked.
that's Freaked.
That's
a good fucking movie.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
I
one I'm
own it.
thinking it is.
I almost guarantee you that's what it is.
I promise you
Yep.
it is.
That's it.
You're welcome.
All right, so I watched Rick and Morty this week. I've been watching it during dinner. I've got about 2 more episodes of that for this season. It's not bad. It's okay. This season's okay. It's not as good as past
There's a lot of
seasons.
It was bound to go downhill at some point.
Yeah, I know. Especially where they're like, "Oh, we need like 8 more seasons from you guys," and it's like, "Oh yeah, this is about to get bad."
Mm-hmm.
I started watching this show on Netflix called The Brother's Son. The Brother's Son. I don't know. It's about this guy who's in like the Yakuza, and they're not terrible, but they're not good either. But like his father's like shot, put in a coma, and he has to like go over to America to protect his mom and his brother who's unaware that his family is even in the Yakuza, and he's like into improv and shit. It's funny, and the fight scenes are cool, but it's kind of bland too because I'm like, where the fuck is this show going? And I'm about 2 episodes in, so I'm on episode 3. And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to capitalize on the Asian popularity thing because of like everything, everywhere, all at once. Because that woman's actually in the show. Can't remember her name. And then also that show Beef that came out last year.
Yeah.
That show was really good. And I think they're trying to capitalize on. Don't get me wrong. I love Asians.
Are they coming out with a second season of that, or is it
I
over?
hope so. I think so. I think they are. Why?
I was just wondering because it's been a long time since season 1 came out.
It was just last year.
I know, but like usually with the Netflix shows, it's usually like
Yeah, but you
Bam,
got to
bam,
think the
bam.
writer strike and everything
Yeah,
else
that's
probably slowed
true.
everything down.
that's true.
But yeah, as far as I'm aware, they're coming out with
They
another
went
season.
on a writer's strike knowing that Stranger Things season 5 still needs to come out.
Yeah, because I'm sure that was their main concern is Stranger Things.
Should be.
Not
better
all the
be.
thousands and thousands of jobs or anything.
It should be Stranger Things.
Okay.
I agree with Madison.
I'm sure they still make a buttload of money over there.
I'm sure.
Yeah, the problem is that the wrong people are making the money.
I don't know what that
That's
means.
why they went on strike.
Yeah,
Who's
pretty
making
much.
money?
The reason why they went on strike
people not doing the
is
work.
not just over money, but also over artificial intelligence and all that other bullshit like that.
Yeah, they weren't
So,
wrong to go on strike.
They weren't wrong for going on strike. I don't blame them.
I don't know. I really want season 5.
So
but
does everyone.
Yeah, right.
We want season 5 so it can be done, so I can cancel
we
Netflix.
we watched Migration with the kids.
Oh yeah,
Animated
how
movie.
was it?
Oh, it wasn't bad. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Had Elizabeth Banks in it. I didn't know that.
Oh, I
She
love
played
her.
the mom. Yeah.
Love her.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was a good kids movie. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again. Like, just another animated,
I'm terrible about that. I don't care much for kids movies. So.
I don't either, but I'll watch them with the kids.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch them by myself or anything because, I mean,
The only
I'm
one
not
that
weird.
might watch that kind of stuff is Jack, and he's not really into it either. So
Secret Life of Pets.
Honestly, the kids, I feel like the boys aren't really into it much anymore either. The reason why I watch them is because I think it helps Crystal feel better too, because Crystal's like really into like, watching movies with the boys and the kids' movies and all that stuff. So I kind of do it for her because I think she still wants Jackson to be like this little young kid, and he's 8 years old and he's into
growing
Fortnite
up.
and YouTube and all that stuff. So we all sat down and watched it. It wasn't a bad movie though. Then we watched Night Swim.
how was it? Is it bad?
I didn't like it. Man, I didn't care for
I
it.
haven't watched. We haven't watched it yet.
It's not that it was like terrible or terribly acted or anything like that. It's the premise, like of a pool that kills people. Come on, man. Come on.
Well, any pool can do that.
Yeah,
You
I'm
can't
just kind of
swim.
like, yeah. It's just, I don't know.
I don't know
It's not
anything
bad.
about it. I don't know anything about it.
It's essentially about this like pool that was built over this ancient like spring that people would make wishes in.
Mhm.
And I guess they, the water, it was, and I guess it's like, essentially like this pool is naturally fed spring water
Mhm.
and all that. And the spring water that's used is like from the old spring that used to be there before they built the house. And I guess there's spirits there or whatever. And if you make a wish, you have to give something to it in order to make that wish come true. Well, like the main character is an ex-baseball player, and he's fucked up. He's got something wrong with him, and they're like, all right, well, water therapy will help. Well, they buy this house, and it's got a pool, so he's using the pool, and he finds himself healing, and he's getting better, and this and that. And then, like, I don't know, it's just a big thing, and
Okay.
by the end of it, I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. Like,
Try to
literally, like, the
entertain.
climax of the movie are like, you have to fight a pool. I don't know. I mean,
Just imagine just being in the water like
take this water. Like,
Grab his dick and
I don't know. Yeah. Put the pool cover on it. I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
What you
I
think
don't
about that?
understand.
Go night-night.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I'd win. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna,
I mean,
drain the pool.
stay out of the fucking
Drain the
pool.
pool, yeah.
Yeah, drain. Yes, she tries to do that, and then she comes back and it's refilled. I don't. It's just it wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah,
Alright. Well,
one of
I
those
mean,
things.
put the pool cover on it then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
put a pool cover on it. I didn't care
smothering
for the
somebody with a
movie.
pillow with the pool cover.
You guys might have a different appreciation for it. I don't know, but I,
don't
was just
know.
like, by
I
the end of it, I was like, because it's got fucking Wyatt Russell in it.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he plays the baseball player.
Well, then it's automatically amazing.
well, he
shut
was the
up.
best part. Him and actually the kids were the best part. I'd say his wife too. But like, they were all good actors. I think everybody did great. I just think that the movie itself was just kind
The
of like
plot
eh.
of the movie just
Yeah, I
kind
was
of
just like,
killed it
this
for
is
you.
dumb. You know, I don't know.
I don't know. I watched Killer Sofa. So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but this was meant to be taken as a serious movie.
fair enough.
So
Yeah, Killer Sofa definitely
a
was
little bit different here, and I'm just kind of like looking at it like, eh. Like I thought it was gonna be a good movie. I heard it was like,
I think they're running out of
I
ideas.
heard it was bad.
oh,
So,
did you? See,
yeah,
I
heard it
didn't
was
know
bad.
that. I don't know. Whatever. I didn't care for it. I won't watch it again. So anyway, that's all I watched. Let's move on here. Let's get into our movie this week.
Let's talk about the movie.
All right. This week we watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. You got our plot synopsis?
I do. 5 friends head out to rural Texas to visit the grave of a grandfather. On the way, they stumble across what appears to be a deserted house, only to discover something sinister within, something armed with a chainsaw. Rated R, 1 hour and 23 minutes. Marilyn Burns as Sally Hardesty, Alan Danziger as Jerry, Paul A. Partain as Franklin, William Vale as Kirk, and that's as far as I'm going to go. You don't know any of these people.
None of
I don't
them
know.
Yeah, you
really
don't know
put
any of
up
these
a good
people.
fight.
I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, none of them people really gave up a good fight.
Well, they didn't really have a
Besides the
chance.
blondie and the first chick that died.
They didn't really have much of a chance. Like, he pretty much popped out on
Yeah,
him.
I mean, he
Smacked him over the head with a sledgehammer.
the very first guy just
Yeah, he had
he
absolutely
had no chance at all.
And he just popped up. Bam! He was like just a flopping fucking fish on the ground there. Yeah, so. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read the plot here. And remember, heavy spoilers. This comes courtesy of fandom. I'm going to try to continue to say that and remember to say that. I'm not going to give credit to any specific writers because I've noticed on fandom, people will literally copy and paste from fandom to fandom. So, like, you could look up, like, say, for instance, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or any other movie.
You don't get like the same.
And
4
sometimes you
articles.
have multiple profiles of the same movie that people create because fandom is literally a site where fans go on, hence the name, and create a page for people to follow and things like that. So what happens is they'll go and look at another person's page of the
Stuff.
same thing and copy and paste what they wrote, like a plot, instead of writing their own. So I'm not going to give credit to anybody here or say out anybody's usernames or anything like that because it's pointless because they obviously, I don't know who actually wrote it.
The main source.
And I don't want to give
You don't
credit
know.
to the wrong person. So I'm just not going to give credit to anybody but fandom. So I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The film opens with an eerie prelude, which probably one of the best parts of the movie, including an introduction and a rodeo radio broadcast about several gruesome graverings. Graverings? Is that a thing? Is that a word?
grave what?
Graverings.
Graverings.
That's what it says. Graverings.
Grave
I
robbery.
think they mean
but-
grave robbings.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I've never heard of graver rings.
Yeah, graverings.
I think
I
they
mean-
made that up.
Somebody
Who-
definitely made that up.
Who went and did the grave rings in Egypt?
I want to go do some gravering.
What's the difference between a grave robber and an archaeologist?
Not a damn thing.
No, there is a difference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One gets paid more.
College degree.
Oh.
A sexual appetite.
No, that's necrophilia.
Sally Hardesty, her wheelchair-bound brother Franklin, Sally's boyfriend Jerry, her best friend Pam, and Pam's boyfriend Kirk are driving to an old homestead in Texas. On the way, they stop at a local cemetery so Sally can relieve her concerns about her grandfather's grave being vandalized. The group later picks up a strange-looking hitchhiker who bumbles incoherently and crazily. He takes a picture of the gang, cuts himself with a razor, not a razor, a knife.
Which is, pretty much like at that point you're out of my van.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
even know why they even-
why you can just
Yeah.
sit there longer. Like that's
Yeah, why does the guy keep driving and like
Um,
pull over?
that's
and
an
shut him
automatic.
out?
Like you're out of my fucking car.
Yeah. Like, I think you need to, which this was the 70s.
I don't care.
There were
I'm
a lot
pretty
of
sure
weird
that
people
that
in the
doesn't matter
70s.
what decade it is. Like you're automatically out of my car.
I'm sorry, but like that one dude after he gets his arm sliced with that razor, he's not going to just be able to bandage that up. Like, you're going to need stitches.
Maybe. It depends on how deep he got.
A razor like that? Oh man, that's gonna be
Oh,
a deep
yeah, I
ass
guess it
cut.
was a
That's
razor,
gonna be
wasn't
a
it?
deep ass cut.
Well, remember they were going for a PG rating, so
Right, yeah.
Well,
calm
yeah.
down.
Is
He
the
ta-
second one? Did they go for a PG rating with that
Oh,
one?
no.
Well, at
No,
that
it was-
point,
no,
it
no,
was definitely
yeah.
an R.
Yeah.
Okay.
The group shoves the crazy man out of the
At
van
that
and
point in time,
drives
they start
off.
wearing it like a badge.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was gruesome.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
stomped on the
You got to
dude's
understand, the
head.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre really set the standard for something like that. And it really, it made people
This
want to raise
created
the
that
bar.
exploitation.
Yeah,
I mean,
it made people want to raise the bar to the gory and gruesome. You know what I mean?
which is crazy because you watch this movie and it really doesn't have that much.
No, but it's brutal and in your face. I think is more.
I
than
think
anything.
I think the point is that it gives you that brutality, but you're not really seeing it other than a few scenes.
You use your own imagination.
Yeah, like
That's
when
what
you
it
start
is.
to like really think about what they've done, that's the brutality. That's where it really starts.
Well,
to...
it's also the way I think. Mostly, it's Leatherface's like very in your face, incoherent screaming and
Yeah.
bumbling around.
I think the most brutal things to me is the first few scenes where like he bashes him over the head
Yeah.
and then he picks that girl and puts her on a hook. Those are the two most brutal things I can think of that you actually see happen.
Right.
I mean, you kind of see the chainsaw when like he's doing the dude in the wheelchair too.
Yeah, you
so-
don't actually see it though. I mean, you're seeing it happen, but you're seeing it happen from behind.
Yeah, they're not really showing anything.
You know what's happening, but
Yeah.
you're not. You don't
Yeah.
actually see it happening.
The hitchhiker smears blood all over the van as the group drives away. The teenagers arrive at a gas station where the proprietor tells them the tanks are empty and the gang sets off to the home, barely managing to make it to the plantation mansion. Tired of Pam and Kirk's annoying foreplay, Franklin tells the group about a nearby lake and the two set off. I gotta say, Franklin is the most annoying fucking character in this movie. I
You know
really,
what?
really did not. I hate to say this about a guy wheelchair ridden.
But that's the
But-
whole point. Like, if you're in a wheelchair and you're reliant on other people, don't you
Mhm.
think you'd have some fucking tact?
But-
Well, it's not even. I don't even think it's so much his character as it is also the actor. He's very squeally and whiny.
actually,
and-
By
the,
20 minutes in the movie, I wanted them all to be dead.
uh-huh.
Mhm.
The guy who played him, and the guy who played the hitchhiker almost fought like on the daily because he couldn't stand him, the guy who played Franklin. But like
couldn't stand who?
couldn't stand the guy who played Franklin.
Oh.
The guy who played the hitchhiker could not stand the guy who played Franklin because he was so fucking annoying, even off camera. And then a couple years later, they met up again for something to do with this, like a reunion or something. And he realized that Franklin guy was like a method actor, so he was acting like Franklin even off camera. And then when he got to know him, like
On
not
a
being
personal
Franklin,
level.
they were friends up until the day that the guy died.
Mm.
So it's just
Well, he did a good job of
interesting
being
to-
really fucking annoying.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was getting on my I couldn't stand him, dude. I was like, I just want this dude off the camera.
I wanted them all off.
Where did I leave off? Pam sits up. Okay, hold on. But instead, they find a house with a running generator. Pam sits outside while Kirk explores inside the house. Upon entering a secret room, wasn't secret. The door was hanging wide open with a big metal door.
Yeah.
Wasn't secret. He comes face to face with a large
Well,
man.
that metal door wasn't there at first; it was wide open.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Shut it.
There was nothing secret about it, even
Yeah.
after he shut it. You
Yeah.
could obviously tell it was a door.
Yeah.
So
It's not, it's not like a
Doorway,
fucking.
yeah, it's not. It wasn't
A
secret. Like if it was
bookcase
a
right there.
bookcase or something, like yeah, that'd be different.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like if the door like was part of the wall that closed and made it look sealed or something.
Yeah.
you know?
That'd be pretty awesome if it was like a bookcase that just fucking dropped down and then fucking Leatherface had jumped out. That'd
Yeah.
be one thing, but
That should be like in a haunted mansion or something. Cause
I don't know,
that'd
I
be
think-
awesome.
It's kind of scarier that nothing's hidden.
Oh yeah, for
like-
sure. Yeah.
You know?
The fact that they know they'll get away with it,
Yeah.
just having it out, yeah.
Yeah, that just shows further that they are not scared because
Yeah.
they've
shows-
been doing this for
It
years.
shows even more
There's-
reason for you to
Yeah,
have no
they've
hope.
been they've been able to get away
well,
with it
they.
this long.
I mean, they are kind of scared because the uncle was like beating the shit out of the one.
They're
dude.
scared of him. They're not
He's
scared
like,
of the
"Dude,
law.
why
They're
are
not
you?
scared
Why are
of.
you? Well, no, he's like, why are you going down there? You could have brought the law here and all that. You know, that,
Which movie was it that showed the aftermath of this movie? It was a sequel. It was supposed to be a sequel to
Dude,
this
I
movie.
can't
It
remember.
was-
Like I
I remember
and it showed the
they're so
cops surrounding
convoluted
the
in my
house.
head.
It was
This
one-
is the only one I remember clearly.
that one I came out when I think you were living in North Carolina because I remember watching it. With
That was
you.
that was the remake. We went to the theater to see it. That was the one with Jessica Biel.
No, we watched it at your house.
No,
yeah, no, I'm
th-
saying we went to the
Yeah.
theater to see it, and then
there
when
was
you
a
came-
direct sequel to this movie that came out. I don't remember what it was called.
It's like 3 direct sequels, or
no, there's
4
a
or
few of
5.
them.
I
But
don't
like I remember them surrounding the house, and I remember like that being like I know that like it wasn't the same actors or anything, but I was thinking like, man, this is actually not that bad of an opening for this movie.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it is, but I know what you're talking. I remember them surrounding the house.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was though. Anyway, let me find my thing here now. Okay, secret room. He comes face to face with a large man wearing a mask made out of human skin. Leatherface. Like we didn't know his name. Leatherface murders Kirk via blow to the head with a sledgehammer and drags him into the back room.
And I would say that's probably the most brutal scene.
Oh, for sure.
He just walks up and just bam.
He doesn't
And
even
then he starts
hesitate.
flailing around on the ground.
Yeah, he's like flopping around, like I said,
Hemorrhaging.
like a
Can you imagine
fish
the
out of
first
water.
time seeing that? Like, I don't remember the
Back
first
in the
time.
70s?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
just the first time you saw that, because I don't remember like the first time I saw
Oh,
that,
don't
but
either.
I remember the feeling I had. Like, I remember being like, oh
Damn.
shit.
It's like I said, it's the in your face brutality.
I think
of
it's
the
that
movie.
it's like a gut punch because you're like, there's no one getting out of it. Like, there's no reasoning with this guy. Like, you don't have that monologue. There's just nothing. Like, it's just boom.
Yeah, he just pops out of nowhere, smacks this dude over the head. You know, like you're my bitch now. You know, but all right. So Leatherface murders Kirk via blow to the head with a sledgehammer and drags him into the back room. Pam goes into the old house where she stumbles upon a room filled with bones and live chickens.
I was happy she died.
Yeah. She flees the house, but Leatherface catches her on the front porch and drags her back inside where he hangs her on a meat hook in the back room. She then is forced to witness Leatherface dismember Kirk with a chainsaw. Evening falls and Jerry goes to look for Kirk and Pam. He finds the house, goes inside, and enters a back room where he discovers Pam locked in a freezer, barely alive. Leatherface appears and bashes Jerry with a sledgehammer. He really likes that sledgehammer.
I think Jerry was like the only one I liked out of them all.
I didn't like Jerry.
But I think that was only because you have the least amount of least amount of talking.
I just say he had the least amount of dialogue.
Yeah, and that's probably why I liked him so much because
Yeah.
it was.
I disagree.
He wasn't as
I
annoying as
liked the
everyone
main
else.
character. I didn't think she was that bad.
I didn't even know she was the main character until she was the last one alive.
She killed
I
me
thought
with her
Franklin
screaming.
was-
Honestly,
throughout,
I
like,
thought-
the whole half of the
No,
fucking.
The
I'm
only
telling
one,
you
the
what.
only one of them that really got on my nerves was Franklin. Like the rest of them really didn't bother me that much.
Franklin got on my nerves. I think that that Pam girl got on my nerves because of her fucking astrology bullshit.
Yeah.
Every 2 seconds, shut up, Miss Cleo. Like, we fucking get it, Jesus. Sorry, that just annoyed the shit
Yeah,
out of me.
sorry,
It was her. It was Franklin, then her.
Franklin was the most fucking annoying.
Kirk was fine, I guess. He was just there.
Yeah, he didn't have very much dialogue either.
And then Susan's boyfriend didn't really do anything either, I guess. But Susan, she annoyed me, but only like when she was like the final girl, because all she did was run and scream and run and scream and run.
That's
and
the only
scream.
thing I didn't like.
And I guess that's what all she could do. But like the dinner scene, especially,
Yeah.
like every time
I
they
just
would
wanted to
zoom
put some
in on her,
earplugs.
oh my god, like that was
She
that was a
screaming for a
terrible,
long,
terrible
long
like.
time.
That was the one thing that I was Tobe Hooper. Like, we got to talk about that. Like that. That was a dumb scene. Like that when he would zoom in on her and she would just scream or whatever.
He did that a lot in this movie, like a lot of zooming in, close ups, and shit like that. And it was like, why are you getting so close to the actors? And
Well, they did that with a lot of horror movies back then, like
I mean,
Carrie.
the eyes
It was
were
just like
big,
Carrie and all
but,
that
like,
stuff.
unnecessary.
It was just like they would zoom in on her as she screamed and zoom out and zoom in and zoom out as she's screaming, and it was just annoying as shit. Like if they
he chased her around in the movie for a good 5-10 minutes,
yeah.
just chasing her around through the woods and shit. I'm like, God, how long is this chase going to take? And how much energy is this big guy got?
Yeah.
Right.
Like he has a lot of energy. To be
Like
running
the
around
dinner
like that.
scene is easily one of the most iconic and terrifying scenes in the movie. But that scream part took me out of it.
Killed it.
I don't
It
know.
killed
Yeah,
it
it killed
for
it for me. I don't know if I've just never noticed it before, or if it just went on for longer than I've noticed before.
Right.
But it killed it for me this time. That fucking screaming scene with him just zooming in on her and screaming and zooming and screaming and zooming and screaming.
It's pretty much all any of those girls were doing was just
Yeah,
screaming
right.
constantly. It's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's because we're used to having our final girls having a little bit more balls nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you-
think so.
I mean, I get that you're scared and all that, but at the same time, you have to have that instinct of I need to be quiet and get the fuck out of here quietly instead of
she kept screaming
and letting him know where I'm at.
Yeah, like she's giving away her position every fucking 2 seconds. Like, I know that you're hurt, and I know that
honestly, if she hid after she ran out of the house after that dinner scene, she probably could have hid.
You should have found a good spot and shut her mouth.
In the night scene when she jumped out the window.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, instead of when she jumped out the window in the night scene, she definitely could have got away.
You know, but she started screaming and running again.
Yeah. Well, you run, definitely, but don't fucking scream. She had plenty of time to get away from the house and find a good position to hide in, rather than screaming and giving away her position, because he had a while before he got behind her and started chasing her again. Anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
Leatherface appears and bashes Jerry with a sledgehammer. Night comes soon, and Sally tries to push Franklin along the uneven forest trail in the darkness. All of a sudden, Leatherface leaps from the shadows and murders Franklin with the chainsaw. Okay, so they skipped over a part. The part where like they're arguing by the van.
Yeah.
And she's trying to fight with him over the flashlight and this and that, and he's
trying
to honk the horn and all that. And I'm like, that's the part where I was like, okay, this dude is really getting on my fucking nerves.
I think out of the entire movie, that whole fight scene about the flashlight specifically was some of the worst acting I've ever seen.
I agree. They were like, it was almost like they were both throwing tantrums, like children. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, what are you doing, man? And it was really...
Which I found out later was not really acting. They were really tired, and she actually could not stand that Franklin guy. So that scene in particular, I get partly now why it kind of sucked, because they were just really, really tired. But his job as a director is to go back and reshoot that.
Right, exactly. Right. Well, I didn't like the way that turned out, so we're going to have to reshoot that tomorrow night, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't like that part. And I didn't like the part with her trying to push him through the woods. Because, like, for one, it was way too dark. And you couldn't see him once they got so far out of the camera's view anyway. Mm-hmm. It's like, why are we continuing with this shot? Mm-hmm. And you can barely see that. Even on a high-resolution TV and fully remastered movie, you can still barely see them. So I'm like, I don't understand why the shot was so prolonged. You know, don't get me wrong. This is only like an 84-minute movie. It's not very long. But still, it felt longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think
because of those drug out scenes.
I can forgive a lot of that just because it being such a low budget and them just trying to make.
I get it.
There's a lot of
I can forgive a lot of that stuff. I can forgive shots. I can forgive.
There's a lot of
low quality
drug out
things
scenes
like that.
in it, and then there's a lot of scenes where it seems like they cut too short, like they were cut in the middle of dialogue.
It's supposed to throw you off and give you that jolted feeling, and
it didn't
that
do that
unsettling.
For me at all.
Yeah, that unsettled.
Did not do that for me.
It didn't really do that for me either.
Kind of annoyed me more than anything.
Okay, all of a sudden, Leatherface leaps from the shadows and murders Franklin with a chainsaw. Sally flees into the dark woods, Leatherface in pursuit. She endlessly is chased through the woods, no shit, for like 10 minutes. Through the woods by Leatherface wielding the chainsaw in one of the most remarkable chase scenes in movie history. That's what this is apparently what they said, not me. I didn't say that because I disagree.
Don't let him say that. He knows. He really thinks that.
No, I don't really think that. Until Sally finds the house where all of her friends were butchered. She races inside and upstairs. Of course she does because she's a moron. She finds the remains of an elderly couple, the man barely alive and the woman dead and mummified. Sally then is attacked by Leatherface, and she leaps through an upstairs window to escape.
And had like 15 minutes before he would have showed up again if she'd have just fucking
ran.
Jetted. Sorry.
Showed up where?
When she jumped out the window, she would have kept her fucking mouth shut and just found some place to hide. She had plenty of time before he showed up.
Plenty of places to hide.
Yeah. It's in the middle of the night.
Especially whenever he's running a chainsaw. He can't hear you over the chainsaw.
Well, like, she was halfway, like, to a field before he even showed up behind her. If she'd have just found some place to lay low.
Right, there were plenty of bushes and everything.
Don't get me wrong, she's wearing some brightly colored clothes, but still.
I'd have hid under the house.
Anywhere.
There was that one part underneath.
They got to go to sleep. She could have
got under there.
Sally
That's
then
still too close to comfort for me. I'd try to go in the woods
The bushes
somewhere.
and trees are too easy.
Yeah. Sally is then attacked by Leatherface, and she leaps through an upstairs window to escape. She runs into the woods again until she comes upon a gas station. Inside, the proprietor consoles her and then beats her with a broom, ties her up, and hold on, and shoves her
Keep stopping.
in his truck where he drives her to the house.
No, I had comments on this
Machete
one, too.
versus broom. She had a fucking machete in her hand.
I didn't
And
understand
the dude was like
this.
hitting her like,
Yeah.
He's like swatting a cat.
yeah.
Like, down.
I
It's
was
like, what are you
laughing so
doing?
hard at that scene because I was like, machete versus broom. Brumality. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what
that's
the
why I said
fuck?
I was like, you were just chased by a chainsaw. Why don't you like kick him in the balls or something?
Dude,
It's
if
just
I have a
broom.
machete and the dude's got a broom, I'm cutting your fucking head off. I don't
And
care.
I hate this trope where they run back to places so close to where they're being chased from. And it's like, dude.
And then they're surprised that they're part of it.
Yeah, it's like, that's not a good idea because how long have they, like, say this guy has definitely got roots there. He knows that there's a murdering family just around the corner. Why
and
would
if he
you
doesn't,
run
then
there?
he's a dumbass
Yeah.
or, you know, whatever. But she had a fucking machete. He had a broom.
Yeah.
Unless that machete is like, you know,
Dull.
so dull that you can't even cut butter with it.
It
But
don't
still,
matter. It's got
doesn't
more
matter. You
blunt
can still
force than a
fuck-
fucking
Yeah,
broom.
that's what I'm
Broom.
saying.
Like,
Like,
petty
you
swing.
have a machete. He has a broom.
You can still crack his skull open with it.
Yeah.
She gave a petty swing and then he knocked her out
Like,
of her hand.
what is this? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I just had to bring that up. I'm sorry. That was just the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
All right. Sally is tied up at the dinner table, and it is revealed that the hitchhiker and proprietor and Leatherface are all
Really?
one cannibalistic
Big reveal.
family.
Whoa.
Dun, dun, dun. Big reveal. Sally is physically and verbally
Never seen that coming.
verbally tormented by the demented family
He was like stabbing her with a
for
fucking
what
broom
seems
and-
like hours, and she is almost killed when she tried to get Grandpa, barely alive, the barely still alive man from upstairs, to kill Sally with a sledgehammer. But she is too weak to do so. Infuriated, the hitchhiker grabs the hammer, letting go of Sally, and in all the confusion, Sally breaks free and jumps through another window. Outside.
It's funny how she broke free.
Like,
too.
they're gonna
I
have
mean,
to replace doors and windows on this fucking house. Like, yeah. Sally breaks free and jumps through a window outside just as the sun has begun to rise. Sally runs to the road with Leatherface, and the hitchhiker giving chase. But an 18-wheeler drives by and runs the hitchhiker over, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
Killing him.
It's a
Leatherface,
fitting ending for such an asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Leatherface runs at Sally, chainsaw ablaze, and the driver of the 18-wheeler helps Sally into the truck, and Leatherface begins to saw at the door, which is the dumbest thing. He's like,
Why wouldn't
Yeah.
he just drive?
Yeah, what?
Like,
Yeah,
just
that's what I'm
open
just
the
wondering.
door, dude. Like,
Well, here's my
he's not
question.
exactly the brightest crown in the box.
yeah, and also, like Eric's about to say, why didn't he just drive
Well,
the fuck
that's
away?
what Madison,
Just start driving,
Madison said.
dude.
She said, "Why didn't they drive away?" Of course, why didn't they drive away instead
thought
of
the
jumping
same
out
thing.
the other side?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I didn't
Yeah.
understand that either. I'm like, what are you
Like,
doing?
I saw the
Like the
girl
truck
jump
guy.
out
The truck
side,
guy had the
and
right
I was
idea. Like, hop in the back, we'll go.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I saw the girl jump out the side, and I was like, okay, so maybe the guy will drive away and she'll hide or something.
So did the truck driver just
But
like run down
then
the,
he
the
jumped
road
out
because
the
he was
side.
Oh, we're
going?
not. We're almost
He just-
done.
he was
Hold on.
going.
They climb out the other side, and as Leatherface pursues them, the truck driver hits Leatherface in the head with a wrench, which is fucking hilarious, causing him to drop his chainsaw and cut his leg. Sally jumps into the back of a passing pickup truck, and she is driven away. She laughs hysterically at Leatherface, who swings his chainsaw in frustration. I just want to know, did the 18-wheeler, did he get away?
That's what Eric just
Yeah,
asked.
he was like
okay.
running
Yeah,
down the
that's
opposite
like
road.
they don't have
Like,
like
he didn't chase him down or nothing.
No,
Like,
he was just gone.
like, yeah.
He just started swinging at the air.
yeah. I don't know. That's just kind of left
And,
up for debate.
I
guess.
mean, that truck driver
I
was
like
about.
to think he got out.
I'm gonna
alive.
say he
Yeah.
got away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for as short and as simple as this movie is, there's a lot to unpack.
Oh yeah.
I know that a lot of people hold this movie near and dear to their hearts. I don't. I don't hold this movie that close to my heart. I don't care much for this movie. I almost bought it. It's at Walmart right now on 4K for $35, and I almost bought it. I was like, nah, because I don't want it. Like, it's not worth $35 to me. Like Blu-ray maybe for like 20, I could do that, but not 35. I'm just not a huge so the parts of this movie that I do enjoy are like in the second half of the movie.
Yeah, the first
Where
half of the movie was
Leatherface
really
finally
boring.
shows up and the killing starts, but he dispatches those people really fast. And then a large chunk of the movie is taken up by him just chasing her around. And that's annoying to me. And then the first half of the movie is taken up by, for one, that Franklin dude who I can't fucking stand. I cannot stand that dude. And the way he's acting and his whiny shit, I don't like him. I know he's in a wheelchair, but I don't feel bad.
That's not an excuse for his actions.
Yeah,
That's not an
I'm just
excuse
like-
for his
It's
attitude.
like when he the first time he shows up and they wheel him out of the fucking the van to go take a piss. When he fell down the hill and everybody was like, "Oh no!" I was laughing my ass
I was
off.
laughing too. Me and
It was
Nick
like-
both.
Even if that was like in real life, if one of my buddies in a wheelchair would roll down a
I
hill
mean-
while he was trying to piss, I would lose my shit. Like as soon as I seen he was down at the bottom of the hill.
But he
was about
did
to
bang
die.
himself up pretty good. He had scrapes all over him, tore up his shirt really good. I'm sure he got hurt a little bit, but even
I'd still
still, though,
laugh.
like,
I would still laugh if I see my buddy laying on the ground afterwards, and I could tell he's okay. I'm fucking dead. I'm done.
No,
I'm
on
laying
the
on the
ground.
ground laughing.
I'd laugh as he was falling down the hill, and I'd be like, "Oh, you're hurt."
No, like as
Okay.
soon like during like the time it's happening, I'm like, and then like as soon as I realize he's all right, I'm like, yeah, you fucked up.
You fucked up, Aaron.
Did you get pissed on yourself?
But yeah, like the first half of this movie, I just didn't care for it because it's a lot of mindless dialogue. And like that Franklin dude's dialogue is so retarded. He's like just asking the most random, stupid questions.
I
and-
wasn't thrilled with any of their
And he's like
dialogue.
just picking his
None.
nail for like 20 minutes with like just his knife. He's just always digging
so
it.
Did they ever
obsessed with
And
his
like
find
knife.
asking
that?
whiny questions. And I'm like, what
They
is
never
the point of
found
this?
his knife.
I don't
No.
give a fuck.
No, I don't. And yeah, that was another thing that I was like, is this knife going to come back into
I know. I kept
play?
thinking like
That's
maybe
what I
some
thought.
like one of
Yeah.
them came up and stole it somehow.
Yeah,
or
like is this
something.
knife going to come back into play at some point
I
in the
thought
movie?
that maybe she would like use it.
Yeah, I thought
or
maybe she had it in her
something.
back pocket or something at some point.
Right.
You know, something. Yeah, I thought maybe it would come back into play at some
But
point.
it doesn't at all, and it's a pointless plot device.
Yeah.
Like they keep
It's a red
asking about
herring.
the knife. Yeah, they keep asking about the knife. Where's it at? Blah blah
And then
blah.
as soon as he's dead, it's like
Yeah,
gone.
and it never comes up again. So
I think Franklin could have been part of the fucking Leatherface's family.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to me like he had some mental issues himself.
I know. I was thinking
Yeah.
like maybe they'll take him in. Maybe that's why he's in a wheelchair.
No, he's too annoying for even them.
No shit.
I don't know. I feel like this this movie, a lot of the faults in it is due to the time frame in which it was made. If you watch a lot of 70s movies, they all have a lot of these same faults. Slow starts, bad dialogue, boring or annoying characters. So I would fault more the time frame in which it was made more than the movie.
Like the second one, I can actually get behind the second one more than anything. But
yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't think that this movie is bad. I just think that there's flaws with it.
Oh, there
And-
absolutely is.
And
I'm not
I believe
denying
that,
that.
a lot of it is budgetary.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is
Yeah.
definitely budgetary.
I'm not denying that. I think that what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that I would fault more the time frame in which it was made, the budget, things like that. But what I will come out and say is that you start to see a lot of what Tobe Hooper later became strong at, and
the
you know,
best
in the
ways of what
fact
he
that-
influenced and every
Yeah,
you
so,
know
like-
where that comes from.
Yeah, so
but
like you see, you know, like the Leatherface walking out and just smacking that guy over the head. There's absolutely no dialogue there. There's no monologue. There's no talking. There's no he doesn't feel bad about it at all. There's no morality there. He just walks out, smacks the guy in the head, pulls him in, and that's the end of it. Like, and that's terrifying.
They gave him a double tap.
Why would he walk into their house anyways?
Well, see, that's another thing. You know, that you got to be fucking ballsy to just walk into people's houses.
Especially out in the middle of nowhere.
Especially in Texas in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like,
Out
that's
in the middle of
ballsy.
nowhere.
Texas,
You're trying to get
regardless, you're walking in somebody's house.
You're getting shot.
Yeah.
Somebody could shoot your ass.
Yeah.
Everybody in Texas owns guns.
Yeah.
Even
But-
back then.
And then the other one walks in there.
Yeah, like it's just no big deal. Like people just do that all the time.
Right.
But you know that's what I would go to say is that like you know a lot of the things about this movie that are amazing and why it spurned so many sequels, prequels, this way, that way, whatever you want to say, and also you know influenced so much is that sheer brutality. You didn't see that in movies before this, and you didn't see it. It's absolutely terrifying because what this movie does right is the realism. You know, what we're making fun of and we're talking about, you know, her screaming and running. I'm not going to say that if I was in that position, I wouldn't do the same thing. If you are terrified to the point you're just trying to get away from somebody, you're not thinking straight.
I don't know if
So
I'd
I'm
be
not
able
saying-
to think enough to scream, though.
I understand. I'm just saying that we don't know what we would do in that situation. I'm saying that this movie does it right from the perspective of keeping it real. This movie does it right saying these are just normal people out for a drive and look what happened to them.
No,
I agree,
That's
the
what
realism-
this movie does right.
I don't
I
feel
do
like they
agree
were
that
normal,
the
though.
realism of the movie does feel, and I think that's why.
That's why there's a lot of flaws. That's why it looks the way
I think
it
that's
does.
why it did so well and why it hit so
Mhm.
hard for people because it's like, wow, this seems far more realistic than let's say The Omen or you know or anything like that
Mhm.
that came out back then. You know, even then they were still sugarcoating things in
Sure.
movies and
Yeah.
you know, so
I think that that's a lot of, you know, the flaws I would say that you know, we look at as flaws, and I'm not saying that they're great. You know, there was things that just annoyed the piss out of me, but you know, I would say that a lot of those had to do with, you know, being the 70s and him trying to make it real. Just normal people out on a drive.
So, what would you guys say if she didn't survive? Do you think that the movie would still be as good if she died at the end
No.
instead of surviving?
No.
I don't either. I thought about it. I'm like, Then it just feels like every
would've
other movie like this. Like, where at the end, nobody survives, the family lives, blah, blah, blah.
I'd have
It's
been
not-
I think
happier.
that the implication is that there's a lot of people that have gone to that farm and not made it.
Right.
So her making it is the point of this film.
Right.
That's what
I
I take
agree.
away
Because
from
it
it.
could have been any of those other people if that was the
Well,
case.
the one thing that you hate seeing in a lot of movies, because let's face it, we're all human. We want to see good people survive, and at least one, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So at the end of a movie, you're like, if nobody lives, you're just kind of left empty at the end of the movie.
Which is nice to see sometimes.
Every
but,
once in a while, yeah,
Yeah.
because
but in this movie, I think that you get that implication that there's enough people that have gone to that
well,
farm.
I feel
and-
like
and
I feel
not-
like the movie itself makes you feel empty enough that
Yeah.
at the end,
yeah,
if she didn't survive, it'd be like, man, this movie just is a complete drag.
yeah, like what was the point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I think by her surviving to the end, even narrowly, you know, I think that says a lot. Like, it makes you feel a little bit better about the movie, and I think that's why the movie did so well.
Yeah.
If she had died at the end, it would have just been another, you know, toss aside movie, and like, what's the point in even watching it?
At the time, maybe not. If it was still as brutal as it was, since this was the first one to be like this.
No, because I guarantee, because back in the 70s, especially, you got to think this is right after Vietnam, or is Vietnam going on?
It's right after.
Right after, yeah.
60.
And people were tired of seeing doom and gloom shit. You know what I mean? Like, people wanted happier endings in their movies. And I think that if they had done more of a negative ending where she was dead or died or whatever, people would not have liked it near as much.
No, I agree completely.
People would be like, all right, I think we see enough, you know.
And for the time frame and everything, I think
Yeah.
that it was brutal enough. It showed you enough doom and gloom, just from the perspective of the murders and all of the stuff that you're seeing. I mean, my God, like they show, you know, in the gas station. I mean, they give you that implication that barbecue,
Yeah.
and they ate that.
Yeah.
You get that implication because she looks at it, and they literally bought that when they were at the gas station earlier.
Yeah, he was chewing on it for a good.
You get that implication, and that's just another thing for the audience to go, oh God. You know what I mean? It's just another thing that's another realism for all of us as the audience to just kind of go, oh my God.
Yeah, they don't come out and say it or nothing.
No, you don't.
It's implied.
It's an implied, but a lot of what happens in this movie is implied. And that's what it does right. It's so realistic in the fact that if this were to happen in real life, who's to say that that's not how it would go down?
It's funny because the gas station owner, the dad, he's probably the least evil of them all. Because
He's actually supposed to be their brother, if you can believe that.
I thought he was the dad.
He's supposed to be the brother.
I thought he was the uncle.
No, he's supposed to be another brother. I found that out in trivia, but yeah, everybody thinks he's the dad.
Yeah, he's so much older. Huh.
And he whoops him. So.
Yeah, and he keeps saying, "Go get your brother" or whatever.
Yeah, go get your brother, and he's talking about go get grandpa.
Yeah,
go get your grandpa or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he's the nicest one of them all. He's like, I just don't sit well with killing.
Mm-hmm.
It just ain't me,
mm-hmm.
But then even at the beginning, because
but then he starts like laughing and stuff.
Yeah, like he likes. I think he likes the torture and things like that.
He likes to watch.
He likes to watch, but he doesn't like to kill.
Yeah,
because even at the beginning, whenever they went to the gas station, he's like, "No, you shouldn't go to that house. You should keep moving." You know what I mean?
He tries to warn them off.
He tries to ward them off, and they don't listen, obviously, because what's the point in that?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's just funny because
it'd be a really short movie.
Yeah, it'd be a really short movie.
Oh, don't go there? Okay.
The end.
Yeah.
Then you just see him driving off and talking again.
Listening to Franklin. Oh, God, more of this. So, the other thing, this was probably my favorite part of the movie. When they got to the gas station and he would walk up to the car and the guy would go up and wash the window. And then he'd back up and the guy would back up. And then he'd go up to the car and the guy would wash the window. And then he'd back up and the guy would back up. And then he'd walk up to the car and the guy would wash the window. Did you guys see that? Yeah. I laughed so hard. I loved the gag. It made me laugh. You didn't think that was funny?
No, I wasn't really paying.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Where did that guy go anyway?
I don't know, but it was funny as shit.
Was he just a gas station
I think he was just trained. I don't know. Like, every time he walked up to the car, the dude would walk up and wash the window.
It's just weird. Like, what makes that guy so special that they don't kill his ass?
Maybe
he's probably part of the family, too.
Yeah, he's probably, I don't know, a little
like
a brother.
A cousin or something that lives down the street.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
he probably lives in the gas station.
Our cousins are over there killing some more people.
Yeah.
Just mind your own business.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just, that was hilarious to me every time you walk up to the car. Then and then, we're back at it. It's hilarious.
I don't have much else on this movie. You guys good or?
Yeah, I'm good. That's it.
Oh man.
There's really not much to talk about other than.
There's really not. This movie really isn't like the last one. Not very plot heavy. It's just it is kids that go on a Sunday trip or whatever and find themselves getting murdered by Leatherface.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's pretty much the rundown of it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into our rating and reviewing of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974.
Let's go this bitch.
Aside from House on Haunted Hill, this is the oldest movie that we've done. Because it's also older than even Damnation Alley.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Damnation Alley was 79, I believe. And this is 74. I believe House on Haunted Hill, which was actually our first podcast, was
1959?
59, was it? I think it was 59. And then...
1959.
And then wasn't the remake 99?
99.
Yeah.
40 years later.
Yeah. So, all right. We're going to go ahead and rate and review this thing. And let's start with Madison.
What'd you watch?
You know, we never did actually. We never asked if anybody would watch and recommend it. Let's do that first
Yeah.
before we even rate it, because we didn't even. We
No
didn't.
one caught it
I
this
completely
time.
spaced on that one. Would you watch and recommend?
I would probably watch it again and probably recommend it. Yeah.
Okay, Eric.
No.
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 Okay, Karen.
Yes and yes. I
Yes.
mean, you should.
I would recommend this to the right person, people who are horror movie buffs and all that stuff. I wouldn't recommend this to like somebody who likes romance movies.
Duh.
Would I watch it
I don't
again?
think I talk to people that like, no. I'm just-
I would probably watch it. I would definitely watch it again at some point, not anytime soon.
Mm-mm.
It's not one that I would constantly return to. This is definitely a good Halloween time movie.
God, I don't remember the last time I watched this movie, but
Oh, it's
this
been
It's
time,
good background noise for like Halloween movies.
this time
Yeah.
watching it was definitely eye opening for me. Like I remember really liking it, and then watching it again, and I'm like, man, I don't remember. Like I remember him walking out, popping the dude, slamming the door, like iconic scenes like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember much else.
Yeah, you remember the iconic shit, but like the other stuff, like Franklin, I completely.
Yeah, I
forgot about him.
Franklin at all.
I forgot all
I,
about him.
I must have just deleted him out of my
Yeah,
memory.
so like shit like
That's
that,
a
like
good thing.
those are the things about the movie that I completely spaced on, and I'm like, I thought I remember it being gorier also, and I was like, I guess that I made
That's
that up
one
in
of
my
those
head.
things that like people really seem to think
Yeah.
it's so gory. I don't remember it being gory. Like I remember the only thing I remember being gory really is like him walking to the kitchen and you see like kind of like dried blood.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the only thing I ever really remembered. But
Right. Anyway, let's go ahead and review this. Madison, go ahead.
I didn't like the first half of the movie. It was kind of boring. But, I mean, their conversations were interesting, I guess, and the hitchhiker was kind of weird. But the first half of whatever was going on really didn't interest me that much at all. And then you got into, the, like you guys said, the, like, iconic scenes, like her finding the skeleton room. That was interesting, I guess. And then him hanging around the
The
hook,
egging
like
room.
things like
Yeah.
that was cool. But like there was a lot of the like spaces in the movie where I just wasn't that entertained, I guess. And isn't that the point of movies, is
Yeah.
entertainment?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're supposed to
yeah.
entertain you.
Should be entertaining all the way through, I guess.
at least get your attention.
Yeah. You got a bloody nose or something?
No, I got a cold.
Oh.
And there are like good. I jumped a couple times, but I'm a jumpy person. So
Okay, so what's your score?
give it a 4, I guess.
A 4?
I don't
Okay.
really like this movie.
All right.
I
You
mean,
don't
like
have
I'll
to.
watch it again because it's an old movie, and I mean it's good and stuff, but it's not. I don't want to watch it by myself because I'd just fall asleep. So someone else would have to be there watching it with me, or else I would fall asleep. And I would recommend it to people who like movies.
If you're a horror buff,
Yeah,
yeah, you should be
like that.
recommended to it.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
that's about
If
I-
they haven't heard of it or seen it. Like,
Yeah. I think for me, I understand what you're saying, Madison. I know it's a product of its time. That's a big thing of it. I think the movie is good in its own right. It definitely, I can respect it for the fact that it definitely pioneered a lot of good horror. And it really set the standard. Because after this movie, I mean, people went ham. I think people lost their shit. So I think for me, like you said, the first half of the movie is boring. Franklin drives me up a wall. The other ones don't really bother me that much, but they don't do enough to actually stand out though either.
So
was
forgettable.
Franklin autistic? Like,
I don't
I
know.
don't-
I think he was
So, I think he was
spoiled.
just
I
spoiled.
get the impression that he was
Gotcha.
spoiled because he was handicapped.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Gotcha.
And very
And
whiny.
If he whined, he got his way.
Yeah,
Kind of ordeal.
and it drove me up a wall. He drove me up a wall. He really drove the movie down for me for the first half. I could have gotten past all the other shit in the movie in the first half of the movie, but for him, with him in it, I just couldn't handle it.
First half made me want to turn it off. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
mhm.
Yeah, it really did. It really drug out. And then the second half, like that's whenever it got good. But that chase scene between the two of them, it's not iconic. I
No.
disagree with
The
it.
chase scene kind of just seemed like half
Yeah.
of the second part of the movie.
It really did because like he chases her
Holy
for I bet
shit.
every bit of 10 minutes,
he chases
man.
her to the house, then out of the house, then back.
Back
to
out of the house, through the
house?
woods, around the woods, blah blah blah, and then to the gas station.
It seems
Yeah.
like they only spent like 10 minutes in the house and they're in the dinner scene, and that was
Yeah, and it was just kind of like it's a really just a rapid fire after he starts killing people off. Like he literally kills the first three friends within like a few minutes of
like
each
5
other.
minutes, I think it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. And then like Franklin comes shortly after, and then there's the chase with them. So
Yeah.
it's like it really happens really fast. And I think the first half of the movie really drags the movie down. But aside from that, I mean, I think that Leatherface is like completely losing his shit and swinging his thing around, or not his thing, swinging his.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, this is my
I missed that
chainsaw,
scene.
baby. But swinging that
I
chainsaw
fall
around
asleep.
and shit. Like,
I
that was
rev it up
good.
from time to time.
I think some of the craziness in it's a little overacted, but that's just my opinion. Some people might disagree with me. But for me, I think I'm going to come in and I'm going to give this movie, I'm going to go middle of the road, man, and I'll give it a 5.5. I was going to go 5, but I'm going to get a 5.5 because it is iconic, and I'll give it that extra bump for creating such great horror movies
For what it's done for the horror.
for what it's done for the horror genre.
Mhm.
And I did like the main character. I didn't think she was as bad as a lot of people might say. So I did like her, even though she did scream a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
You still like the aliens lady better, though, right? Ripley.
Of course. Come on, man. Ripley's the fucking champ.
Yeah.
She's like one of the best final girls. Like everybody's like, oh, Sydney. Like, no, dude, Ripley. Ripley's the
Ripley
shit.
or fuck.
Which movie?
Halloween.
Oh, Lori.
No,
Lori.
it's Ripley.
Ripley all the way.
Well,
dude.
I'm saying Ripley over Lori, but I'm saying Lori would come like second.
She's okay.
My opinion.
She's okay. It's funny because I was actually thinking about
Ripley's like first, second,
I was
third, fourth,
I was actually
and fifth.
thinking about doing Jamie Lee Curtis for creator profile this week because I didn't know who to do because nobody knows these other people. And the only reason why I did
Well,
Tobe Hooper is because you said we should probably do Tobe Hooper.
yeah, because I mean that's why a lot. Of
I think it's
horror-
best to stick with at least something.
I wanted
close
to too.
it.
That's why I was like, I really don't want to do anybody outside the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I like to stick to people that have something to do with the movie. That's why I did Tobe Hooper. And honestly, this will be the only opportunity that we have to do
Exactly.
him anyway. So
He doesn't do the second one or anything?
he
Nah.
did the second one, but like in the second one, I'd rather do somebody like fucking Bill Moseley
Yeah.
Yeah.
or something like that. Or actually Dennis Hopper's in it too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got a couple of other options there.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm gonna say, I think that I'm gonna say that I think the biggest downer is a lot of what you guys said. But I really think it's mostly a product of its time. The 70s were just a boring time for movies.
Terrible.
If you watch any movies from the 70s, it's a lot of bland talking, bland
there's really not a
characters.
lot of iconic movies out of the 70s.
Yeah, so a lot of that is 70s movies. There's a lot of that going on. So I will say a lot of that has to do with the product of it being at a 70s movie. And then I'm going to go into what I think it does the best, and that is it being a realistic movie. You talk about, everybody talks about how this was iconic in bringing in exploitation and those types of movies. I think, when you talk about like the Blair Witch and all of those other movies that, everybody wants to say like, oh, that's a realistic movie or, found footage or whatever. Like none of those movies exist either without movies like this, because that's what they strive for, is to give you like a realistic point of view of like what would really happen if somebody were in a situation. So to me, this is like the best film as far as like, if you were really in that situation, what would it look like? So I think that is probably the thing in this movie that it does the best, is it gives you a realistic point of view for the characters, what would happen if this were to happen to somebody. And then, of course, you have this brutal guy.
Think if it was realistic, they'd have kicked fucking Franklin out of the bus within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was her brother.
Give a fuck.
You got 4 wheels. Move your ass.
We'll tie you to the back.
I don't know.
Just
You
hold
got
on.
annoying brothers. You'll put up with a lot.
Bitch, please.
Mr. Where's your fucking flashlight pointed at everybody?
No. It's
Anyway.
Say, don't touch my flashlight.
just you. Fuck my flashlight.
Oh, we're going to have that argument about flashlights
Yeah.
now. I don't know. To me, I guess I'm going to go a little bit higher and say like 6.5 because I think that because of the iconicness and to me the biggest thing is that realism. I think that it does it the best out of any movie done like this that I've ever seen.
It's not working.
That's sad.
Or
Oh, what did I do?
I don't know.
Oh, you stopped it. You son of a bitch.
It came back. It's okay. I hit it right afterwards.
You broke it.
I thought I hit the right button.
Do I
Can
need to
you do it?
What?
Hit the bump.
This bump?
No, yeah, maybe.
Put that cookie down!
No, try. What's the other one?
That's
13.
13.
Why didn't it work for me? I hit enter.
It's 13, not enter.
your inner.
Yeah, your enter shuts everything off.
Your enter is spacebar pretty
I'm
much.
not touching anything.
Don't
Man.
fucking
It's
touch it.
It's 13, not enter.
I don't have a 13.
I
No.
thought
You
It
got
goes 1 to
up
9.
I thought
at the
your
top.
13 was F1.
Yeah, no,
no, there's no 13 up there. is there?
F1 is this.
Put that cookie down!
So try F2? I don't know.
It's not.
Ah!
Wow, Dad.
I've hit enter before, and that's what it did.
Not this time.
Whenever it wasn't recording?
Yeah.
Well, you broke it.
We're learning buttons now.
It was
We
whenever
got
it
this.
wasn't recording.
This is a learning curve for everybody.
But at least you got through Karen's, so that like at the end of Karen's thing is
Yeah,
when you
that's-
have
yeah,
to
that's
splice
all
it
right.
again.
We think. Go on.
You want my opinion?
I don't give a
You
shit.
guys ain't gonna
Oh.
like it.
We don't have to.
It's gonna be like a 2.
It's gonna be like a 9.
We're not gonna. It doesn't matter.
Anyways, I didn't like the movie.
we got
at all.
that.
Okay.
I didn't like the dialogue. I didn't like the acting at all. The
You're
only
supposed to love
thing,
this
the only
movie.
thing that this movie has going for it for me is what it's done for the horror genre.
Like,
Literally, that's all it's got for me.
don't touch it.
So yeah, you are right. I'm giving it a 2.
Damn.
I am not.
Told ya.
It would have been 1 if it was, wasn't for the horror genre. What it's done for the horror.
So if it didn't have done that,
It'd
would've
probably
been
be a 0. I'm
We've never had a 0 on
Being
this
honest,
podcast.
it would.
Sev.
Yeah,
Who?
Josh.
Josh.
Oh, Josh gave Infinity Pool a
Infinity Pool
0.
0.
Yeah.
He really did?
Yeah.
I thought he gave it like a 2 or something.
No, he gave
said
it a 0.
He said he hated it more than he did Kung Pao.
Yeah.
Okay.
But any other Texas Chainsaw movies like the second one, I really do like the second one. But this one just, I can't get behind it.
Right.
I literally wanted to turn it off within 30 minutes, and it didn't get any better for me. So yeah, that's where it's at for me.
All right.
4.5.
4.5.
That's about where
What'd you
everybody
give
else
it,
got
Karen?
it.
6.5.
6.5.
That's why it's a 4.5.
Wow.
I think it's really realistic. That's just my biggest point.
Yeah, right. I agree. I agree that it has some realism to it. Who wants to do the Rotten Tomatoes this week?
Do you want me
Yeah,
to?
I can do it again if you want me
Oh.
to.
No, you can
No,
do
I
it.
got
I'm-
it.
You don't. Yeah.
Fine.
Y'all, watch this.
Madison's going to do it.
Okay.
At least this way she can't cheat.
I never cheated, okay?
I mean, for the critics, I'm going to say it's a high number
Oh,
because
for sure.
critics
Yeah, I
fucking
bet
loved
critics
it.
and audience.
I was going to
Probably
say
gonna
it's
be
going to
like
be high
80,
either way. I'm going to say
85.
83.
Fuck you, I say
I'm gonna say
85.
83.
Critics?
Yeah,
For
critics.
critics?
83.
Ooh,
I said 85.
I'm going to go... Man, you guys are really...
I'm not going in the 90s, but yeah.
I don't know, man. This is pretty iconic. What'd you say?
83.
83? I really don't know, man. This is tough for the critics. I think for the critics, I'm going to go higher. And I'm going to give it, what'd you say?
85.
85? I'm going to go 90. I'm going to give it a 90.
90.
I'm not sure. It might be lower than yours even, so I'm kind of... But you guys kind of left me with no
What'd you
playroom.
give it
A 90.
for the critics?
Yeah.
And you?
83.
83?
85.
It was 89%, so Dad took the
You suck.
tomato
Fucking
over here.
ringer, baby.
I'm staying at 83.
I'm
Okay.
not.
I almost
For
had it on the nose
audience,
that time again.
audience, I'm going to say 72.
72.
For the
83.
83.
For the audience,
Mm-hmm.
what'd you say?
72.
What'd you say?
83.
I'm going to go higher than you. I'm going to go 85.
It's 82.
Damn.
So Karen
Boom.
got that
Damn.
one.
Hey, we're both close, though.
Yeah, it's
All
true.
right. Gotta do some stuff.
Do some
here.
shitty ones.
Some cruddy ones.
Eric's probably on there.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably on there.
This was the shittiest movie I've ever seen.
It's just
Okay.
on there.
Paul
Fuck
Rudd
Jerry.
wasn't in here.
This is Antoine L. He gave it 1 star. It was very, very bad. The acting was bad. The story was bad. The pacing was bad. Maybe the one thing that was not bad was bits and pieces reminiscent of a good cinematography. For example, when the dinner scene is happening, there is great tension on what is going to happen. Sadly, though, it never goes anywhere. And the awful screaming
I
sequence.
disagree. I don't think.
I don't think that-
I
the-
think
And
he's
the
right
op-
on the money about the dinner scene.
I don't.
And the awful.
I don't think
screaming,
the tension was there.
No, I agree. The tension was there, except, like he said, the screaming
the
part
awful
screaming
sequence.
fucks it all up.
Oh.
It's a drag to watch it, and I doubt I will watch it again soon.
The dinner
on
scene is
Champions
by far the most iconic scene in the movie. It's just like it builds that tension and builds that tension. It's really, really good until that fucking screaming thing starts, and then you're like,
Paul S. Such a bad. He gave it half a star. Such a bad movie. Super slow. Zero scary. Don't waste your time. I don't understand why this is a classic.
It's a classic because of what it's done for the horror genre.
Half a star by Drift B. It's not even scary. He spelled scary wrong. He said scary. Yeah. Compared to others, not even scary compared to others. 2.5 stars. This movie is severely overrated. The acting was some of the worst I've ever seen. The movie was okay at best. That one's in Spanish. Half a star, 10% rating. Not a big fan of the horror genre because I always feel like the characters are poorly written and the storylines are trash.
well, then why are you watching a horror movie?
You don't know.
Right.
It's like me going on like an anime thing and being like, I hate anime,
Yeah.
For real.
and this
It's like
movie was
watching-
terrible.
It's like watching, like, I don't know, Akira, which is like the king, what they call the king of anime movies, and getting on there and be like, this movie was dumb. I don't like anime. Then don't watch. Why would you watch that?
I mean, to be fair, I will watch pretty much any anime that somebody says to watch just because I'm a fan of movies. But if I hate it, I'm not going to go on some site.
I don't like anime.
And the first thing I say is I hate anime, but I watched this one and it was terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's
This
dumb.
one's by Chameleon 1. It's half a star. It says boring to watch and very outdated acting and directing.
Very much all of them have the same.
Okay, well, you can't judge it based on its being outdated.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
the 70s, man. It's fucking 50 years old.
Just dumb.
Which is
not
why I
even
said,
scary,
that
dumb,
I think
half
it's
a
just a
star.
victim of
Yeah.
its time, really.
Literally,
That's why I said
this
the
movie is
second one
50
was a
years
whole
old
lot
this
better,
year,
so.
Half a star. Are you used to watch this? I said R. I used to watch this movie all the time when I was like 10 years old, but unfortunately it has not aged well. There's something about it that seems immature and camera work.
Right.
Huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Give us one more and be done.
Okay.
Meh.
Let me find one more.
Paul Rudd was not in this.
Is Jerry involved
One
in
more
any of
star.
that?
Yeah.
Combined 2.5 out of
Did
10
anybody see
or
episodes?
1.25 out of 5. Boo, all of this could have been avoided early if anyone had a touch of common sense or the will to get home. 2 out of 10. Keeks
Or Neo is God.
Outlast. I like that this movie was short, but it was rushed and predictable. Yawn. 4 out of 10. amprod.com/episodes.
I actually will agree there too. Like, I don't know, the realism thing I will still say is a thing, but as soon as I walk up on a farm and I see 15 cars just hanging out in the back of somebody's yard, I'm just probably gonna head on
especially
out.
the way they were like covered up so that
This
people
person
couldn't see
only
them.
watched 35 minutes. It says, I managed to sit through 35 minutes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Eric?
and it was a major waste of time.
How long?
So
35.
35 minutes. So since I couldn't get into it and it truly sucked, I turned it off rather than continue to torture myself watching it.
See,
Then
Eric, you're stronger than that guy.
but you can't-
You didn't turn it off.
You can't give a rating.
I wanted
though.
to.
No.
I was like
I
so
agree.
bad wanting to skip through it though.
You can't rate movies if you don't finish it. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, you just
Yeah.
can't. Now
That's
it's
the
different if
only
you're
reason
talking to
why I
people.
finished this movie because I wanted to do it for the podcast. But if
Yeah.
it wasn't for the podcast, I would.
I believe that.
I would have turned.
I've
it
done that
off.
with movies for this podcast before. God damn it, I got to sit through the rest of this fucking movie.
It's different if like you're talking to people and they say like, "Oh yeah, I watched this movie," and be like, "Oh man, I turned that off. I couldn't finish it."
Yeah.
But you shouldn't go on a website and be like, "Oh, the movie was terrible. I turned it off. 1 star." Well, then you should be able to rate it.
Who was Bubba Sawyer?
Bubba Ganesh.
Bubba Sawyer would be
Isn't that the
Leatherface.
Is
It's
that? Oh yeah,
Leatherface.
yeah. It was.
Oh,
yeah, that's his real
It
name.
says Leatherface, Bubba Sawyer, and Junior. It just has 3 different names. I thought it was like different people in the movie. Cool.
All right. Moving on. Oh, let's get into some of that sweet ass trivia, Karen.
Man,
Okay.
trivia got in here at 10 minutes.
Sweet ass trivia with Karen.
Yeah, we're that fast.
Damn, we're quick.
Whoa!
That's what she said.
Oh.
No, that's just what she said I was.
According to John Larroquette, his payment for doing the opening narration was a marijuana joint. Did you know John Larroquette did the narration at the beginning? I didn't.
Who is it?
John Larroquette.
Who the fuck is that?
You ever watched Night Court? He was on that. Oh, shit.
There then gone.
Yeah. Demon
It
Knight.
happens.
He
At
was
the very
guy at the beginning?
Yeah, the guy at the
Okay.
be-
Yeah, I
yeah.
know who you're talking about now.
yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know he did the narration at the beginning.
I didn't either.
But he was paid with a marijuana joint.
He was what?
He was
That's
paid with
not
a marijuana
the first
joint.
one
With a
I've
joint,
heard
huh?
of that's been paid with the marijuana joint.
I mean, it was
there was
70s.
There was someone else
Just one?
we did where you said somebody got paid with a marijuana joint.
Yeah, but he literally has to say like a paragraph of dialogue and that's it
Mm-hmm.
for a movie. Here's a joint, man. Go in here and read this. Sweet. All right.
Surprisingly, this film is one of the least bloody horror films of all time. So we've been talking about this. This is because Tobe Hooper intended to make the
Toby
movie.
Hooter.
Yeah, I told you I have a fucking cold.
Oh no, it's that joint.
To make the movie for a PG rating by keeping violence moderate, language mild, excluding nudity entirely, and having most of the horror implied off screen rather than shown in great detail on screen. However, this plan had actually backfired and made the film even more horrifying because despite cutting and repeated submissions, the ratings board insisted on an X rating, and it wasn't until the film received the R rating when Hooper gave up and released the film anyway. Hooper had similar ratings problems with the sequel. Marilyn Burns, whose character was chased by Leatherface through the undergrowth, actually cut herself on branches quite badly, so a lot of the blood on her body and clothes is real.
I believe that.
The soundtrack actually contains no sounds from musical instruments with the exception of some copyrighted music that they had the rights to. Instead, they used sounds an animal would hear inside of a slaughterhouse. I thought that was neat. I'd never heard that before. Director Tobe Hooper claims to have gotten the idea for the film while standing in the hardware section of a crowded store while Christmas shopping. While thinking of a way to get through the crowd, he spotted the chainsaws.
Damn.
Cook it down.
Put the cookie down.
Gunnar Hansen originally turned down the role of Leatherface due to the sheer brutality of the plot. He was then persuaded by Marilyn Burns, who was friends with him at the time. After getting into the old age makeup, John Dugan decided that he did not ever want to go through the process again, meaning that all the scenes with him had to be filmed in the same session before he could take the makeup off. This entire process took about 36 hours, five of which to put the makeup on, during a brutal summer heat wave where the average temperature was over 100 degrees, with a large portion... Huh?
What a douchebag.
Why?
Because he could have at least sat through 2 sessions.
I think he's hardcore for going for 36 hours.
Shit.
Yeah, it was him having to sit with the makeup on. Save the makeup person having to do it again.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty hardcore. Me
Yeah.
personally, I'd been like, let's get this shit off. We'll do the rest tomorrow.
But what
Yeah.
about the other people?
What do you mean?
The other people that he filmed with?
What about him?
What
Wouldn't
about
they
him?
get tired or anything?
Maybe.
No, they didn't have to film that whole time. He had to be in the makeup for 36 hours.
Why?
Because he didn't want to have to go through it
process
again.
Pay attention.
I was paying attention. I don't get it,
Apparently
though.
not.
I don't get it, though.
He sat in the makeup for 36 hours.
Why?
During filming and shit. He probably left it on while he slept and everything.
Ew.
Are you happy or are you gonna fuck me up?
For real.
The latter.
The down ladder.
With a large portion of it spent filming the dinner scene with him wearing a heavy suit and necktie sitting in a room filled with dead animals and rotting food with no air conditioning or electric fans. Everyone later recalled that the stench from the rotting food and people's body odor was so terrible that some crew members passed out or became sick from the smell. Edwin Neal, that's them puking. Edwin Neal, who played the hitchhiker, claimed, "Filming that scene was the worst of my life, and I have been in Vietnam with people trying to kill me, so I guess that shows how bad it was."
Dang.
Tobe Hooper allowed Gunnar Hansen to develop the Leatherface as he saw fit under his supervision. Hansen decided that Leatherface was mentally handicapped and never learned to talk properly, so he went to a school for the mentally handicapped and watched how they moved and listened to them talk to get a feel for the character. He also...
That would not be okay nowadays.
I was getting ready to use the bump
What? What?
when she was talking about him going and learning how they talk and all like that.
No,
That's terrible.
that is terrible.
I know, that's why I stopped.
He also
Getting
tried...
canceled tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He also tried his best to make his portrayal as non-offensive as he could, Eric.
Hey, I'm trying.
Many
I'm holding
fans,
it.
included those who are mentally handicapped, say he succeeded.
See, I didn't do it.
Leatherface
I don't know, your
also...
hand's pretty close. Could have been staged.
Leatherface also
I looked
wore...
at it.
I did it, damn it.
Leatherface also wore 3 different masks: the Killing Mask, the Old Lady Mask, and the Pretty Woman Mask.
I'm just as bad for thinking it, though.
Gunnar Hansen commented, the reason he wore a mask, according to Toby and Kim, was that the mask really determined his personality. Who he wanted to be that day determined what mask he put on. So when Drayton comes home with Sally, Leatherface is wearing the Old Lady Mask, and he's wearing an apron and carrying a wooden spoon, so he wants to be domestic, helpful in the kitchen. At dinner, he wears a different face, the Pretty Woman, which has the makeup. The Pretty Woman outfit consists of a female wig and a black suit, as Leatherface is dressing up for dinner.
I'm sorry. Was that expensive piece?
An old Deep South tradition which stems from his southern upbringing, and the Killing Mask is the skin mask he wears while chasing and murdering captives. Hansen later added, the idea of the mask is that there is no personality under the mask. That was the idea in talking with Toby and Kim. When they created the character, they said he has to put on masks to express himself because he himself can't do it. The way we tried to create him, there is nothing under the mask, which is what makes him so frightening. The film's original distributor was Bryanston Distribution Company, which turned out to be a mafia front operated by Louis Pereno, who used the movie to launder profits he made from Deep Throat. In return, the production received only enough money to reimburse the investors and pay the cast and crew $405 apiece. The producers eventually discovered that Pereno had lied to them about the film's profits. After he was arrested on obscenity charges when his role in Deep Throat was revealed, the cast and crew filed suit against him and were awarded $25,000 each. New Line Cinema, which obtained the rights to the film from the now bankrupt Bryanston, paid off the cast and crew as part of the purchase agreement. Gunnar Hansen noted that there is some question as to whether the old man is the grandfather to Leatherface and Hitchhiker or their father. Hooper agreed that there is ambiguity there, but the character was actually written as their brother. Gunnar Hansen could barely see in the Leatherface mask. He remembers the first take when he is carrying Terry McKinn and knocking himself out cold after hitting the door frame to his workshop. Tobe Hooper jokes it made a great sound effect. The final shot...
Is that what the...
Probably. The final shot of Leatherface swinging his chainsaw around was not scripted. Gunnar Hansen was actually venting his anger and frustration on set due to the grueling production, but Tobe Hooper was so impressed that he kept the cameras rolling on Hansen. I thought that was kind of cool.
So he was just throwing a fit?
Mm-hmm. That final shot that's so iconic and amazing is just him pissed off because of the way that the shoot was going.
I think I'd fire that guy.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Why are you acting like that?
No, he went with it.
Hey, film this moron.
It worked.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what Tobe Hooper kind of does. He goes with it. Like, it was over 100 degrees. I mean, everybody was pissed. I mean, I'd go with it.
Well, him flailing the chainsaw around was
Yeah.
him throwing just a fit.
Yeah, he was just
it was
mad.
The actor throwing a fit.
It was probably, something, like they had to reshoot something or whatever. It was just probably one of those, kind of like, oh, moments. And, I mean, it worked.
I
And
guess.
he didn't hit no
It is one of the most iconic scenes of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Gunnar Hansen recalls shooting the sequence where they cut Sally's finger and try feeding the blood to Grandpa. The tube that shot the fake blood kept clogging, and finally, after several takes without the tube working right, Hansen simply sliced Marilyn's Burns finger open. And the reason was, he explained, at this point, we were insane. He proceeds to explain his only desire at that point in shooting was to get the film done. He didn't care about his fellow actors' well-being, and this sequence was shot in the back end of a 27-hour workday. He also notes there isn't much acting going on in that dinner scene.
What did she
That's the
have
end.
to say about that?
She screamed.
Yeah, a
shit.
lot.
That's it.
All right. That's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. Let's see what we're doing next week, Karen.
Okay.
Drum roll, please. Dun, 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 dun.
It's your cue.
Jumanji?
Jumanji. Wow. There's
Oh, man.
actually a turn for...
Something.
Guess who our creator profile is going to be?
Robin Williams?
Yeah, damn right.
Yay. Everybody's dad.
Everybody's dad. You're right.
I thought that was...
Until we grew up
Except
and
for
saw...
a 1 hour photo.
Until we grew up and saw his stand-up, and we're like...
Yeah. You are like my dad.
Yeah, just not in the way I thought.
No, in exactly the way my dad acts.
Well, just not in the way we thought, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
I remember the first time I saw that live on Broadway one.
Oh, it was great.
Oh, it's amazing, but I was just like...
And talking about how they invented golf.
Oh,
or how,
yeah.
how he went down on his old lady.
Yeah, I was going to say it was more like him talking about, like, eating his girlfriend out or whatever. It's like... You don't
I
do
felt
that.
sorry. I actually felt like he was violating his own
Yeah,
arm.
exactly. That's what I thought.
Like, I think your arm is feeling a little violated and, well, quite frankly, raped.
It is streaming on Amazon.
And this is
that's
the
it.
original Jumanji from 1990.
I just had it up. And
96?
95.
95. Yep.
You would have won Diane
I would have won Diane.
for the first one. I think that's going to be a new one from now on. I would have won Diane last week. You could have had her this week.
So next week we're doing Jumanji. This is a good one for the kids, the whole family. It's a classic, and I feel like this is another winner.
I love Jumanji.
We all love Jumanji.
Yeah.
I remember going to see this one on the theaters whenever it came out.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't get to go to the theater very often, but this is one that I got to go see, along with, like, I think shortly after I got to go see Mortal Kombat in theaters. It was released the same year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a good theater year for me. Anyway, next week we're going to do Jumanji. Don't forget to check out all of the fancy TikToks and all that good stuff down there.
The things.
The things.
So join us next week for Jumanji.
Goodbye.
I am not a crook.
Later.
Sorry for all my sniffling.